Hi everyone, today I'm going to be looking at the fifth Eon Bond film. I've not done one of these for a bit. The last one I did was the 1967 version of Casino Royale, which is a stinker, and it's going to put me off. It put me off my stride doing these videos. I've got in quite a nice routine of reviewing the Bond videos. Anyway, I want to get going again after the misery of having to watch 1967's Casino Royale, not to be confused with the far superior Daniel Craig version. And today it's the fifth Eon Bond film, You Only Live Twice, or as I like to think of it, the first Austin Powers film. Released in 1967, directed by Lewis Gilbert. It's a bit of a mixed bag because I think that the memorable moments and scenes of the film overshadow the film itself. So everybody remembers the rocket swallowing the space capsule, the volcano, Bond getting killed at the beginning, Bond being rescued by the submarine. That's remembered more than... I think the film is less of a whole than some of its parts. It's a funny film, I think. I'm going to look at this version first. This is the non-widescreen digitally remastered film, bought for £6.99 in 1993 at HMV in Sheffield. Not a bad transfer, to be honest. Yes, it's pan and scan, but for some reason I didn't buy the widescreen for this. What I do like is the posters inside for the Connery films, and trying to flog the widescreen ones. 112 minutes, not a bad transfer, to be honest, and quite watchable still, even though it's in pan and scan.
We tried to think of something that you wouldn't forget.
Yes.
I love you. Repeat it, please, to make sure you get it.
Don't worry. I get it. Sayonara.
This film had a funny birth in that it's not really based on Fleming's novel of the same name, which is mainly about a Bond with amnesia in the Japanese castle of Blofeld. Originally, this wasn't going to be the next Bond film. It was going to be Thunderball, then on Her Majesty's Secret Service, but they couldn't really find an Alpine location, so they made You Only Live Twice. The story is actually written by children's author Roald Dahl, and it's all right. Some rockets have gone missing. Bond's killed by the British, and it's a smoke screen. So by pretending he's dead, all his enemies think he's dead. He's sent to Japan to meet Tiger, hence the top, Tiger Tanaka, head of Japanese Secret Service, and goes after Blofeld. And it plods along somewhat, and I do say it plods along. The memorable moments are real high points in Bond. However, there's one thing that's very strange about this film. It's Connery's performance. Old Sean was not very happy with being Bond at the time, and he found the press intrusion quite suffocating. I have never been an international movie star. I never will be an international movie star. So I don't know what it's like to be famous. But he was really struggling. Some of the footage on the DVD extras, you see him shown out and about in Japan, and he just gets mobbed, and you can tell he's really pissed off about it. And he is rather flat during this film. It's not his twinkle-eyed performance of previous films, including the one before it, Thunderball, where Connery does have a bit of a spring in his step. He's put on a bit of weight. It's only a bit. I can't talk, I can't talk about putting on weight. But he just looks a bit flat. He looks fed up. He looks fed up in this film. You've got to admit, Sean Connery does not look a happy chappy. And this kind of conveys forward into a bit of a flat performance. Look, he's still great as Bond in this. Not his best performance. And it's all right as a film. As I said, the memorable moments really lift it. Production has a strange story to it. It was directed by Lewis Gilbert, and Gilbert, Harry Saltzman, Cubby Broccoli, Ken Adam, and a few others went location spotting in Japan. And because they were going to have it Blofeld's lair in a Japanese castle by the sea. Somebody says the Japanese never built castles by the sea. By the way, there's some interesting volcanoes we'd like to look at. So they went to look at these volcanoes, cancelling their flights home to the UK. The flight they were supposed to get on crashed. So it was a lucky escape for these guys, unfortunately not for the people who on the aircraft that crashed. Production-wise, it does hit a high with Ken Adams' volcano set. It's a temporary set, and I've seen pictures of it from the outside at Pinewood, and it's bloody ugly. It's just loads of scaffolding, but it's enormous. It's enormous mound of scaffolding on some backlots at Pinewood. But the volcano set is just unbelievable, and I do joke and say, it was the first Austin Powers film. Donald Pleasence as Blofeld, who was not the first choice. Jan Verick was the first choice as Blofeld. This wasn't quite working out, so they swapped him out for Donald Pleasence, who was just iconic. And I know there's all criticism say, he's got a facial disfigurement. That evil people shouldn't have facial disfigurements. What a load of rubbish. The fact that you can have a facial disfigurement and be so powerful and evil is all testament to them. Anyway, politics aside, Donald Pleasence gives the iconic facial introduction as Ernst Stavro Blofeld, and probably, Dr. Evil as well. It does make me laugh how much Austin Powers stole Mike Myers stole from You Only Live Twice. It is quite appalling, to be honest, and I'm not quite sure Mike Myers should have got sued for some of it, but it's all good fun. It's all parody.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
I'm going to place him in an easily escapable situation involving an overly elaborate and exotic death.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond.
The film's all right. Not my favourite. We rate these Bond movies on a 007 scale. For the mission, the story, it gets 5 out of 7. It's all right. It trots along quite nicely. It goes a bit flat, with the wedding scene in Japan. You get dragged through that. Bit flat in parts, but the highs are high, and it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. The story's so good, they remade it twice with Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker, both directed by Lewis Gilbert as well. Only joking. The spectacle, the actual look of the film, is a mixed bag. It goes from absolutely unbelievable with the volcano set to some pretty ropey special effects. The space special effects are alright, but don't forget 2001, A Space Odyssey was on the horizon, and just look at the difference in special effects between 2001 and You Only Live Twice. What really annoys me is when they cut some stock footage of a rocket. The Soviet rocket is a Gemini mission. Things like that annoy me, bad continuity, but that's just me being a bit nerdy. And it's all right, it's some of the special effects enough. Some of the visual sets are stunning, and I think it's some of Ken Adams' most iconic work. Anything that Ken Adams did was just unbelievable, to be honest. Music-wise, again, 5 out of 10. Nice score by John Barry, not his best. The music motif was shamefully recycled and stolen by Robbie Williams with Millennium. I can't sing, by the way, as you've probably noticed. It's alright, the score. Some Japanese motifs, one of Barry's more subtle scores, but it's alright, it's alright. So, quite a mid-range Bond here. Not the best, by no means the worst. Still really entertaining. But as I keep saying, the memorable moments do not a great film make. I think you've got some extremely memorable scenes and moments and occurrences, but they just don't seem to fit together in an all-time classic, and it's perfectly serviceable. enjoyable Bond, but not the best. So we've looked at it on VHS. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I got this as well. Again, I got this as an import. It's an NTSC. I don't think it was on sale in the UK. Bit of a picture. If I can get it out. Bit of a picture of Connery looking fed up on the cover. And as always, the extras on this and the Blu-ray are excellent. So yes, it's fine. But as always, let's have a look at those fantastic animated DVD menus that are sadly missing on the Blu-rays.
Welcome to You Only Live Twice Special Edition DVD. Please activate your navigation system now.
This is the big one, 007.
So there we go, 1967's You Only Live Twice. I think we've all seen it a million times. It's alright, some extremely iconic moments, but as a whole, it somewhat falls flat and Connery is on the wane. And I'm not surprised, you know, he's a man who decided that he didn't want to do it anymore. And this never happened to the other fella.